Good evening, everyone. First thing first, is my voice audible and the screen visible? Yes, good. See, today what I'm going to discuss is the last two chapters that we had pending, right? So I'll be discussing that. So in order to understand that last topic, last two topics, many people are complaining, sir, no one has dealt these two things in detail. Okay, we will do as subject wise, that as topic wise, but what you have to understand is, in order to understand these two topics, what you have to understand is you have to reorient the syllabus. There is some structural linkages in the syllabus here and there. First you have to understand that. Once you understand that, you will understand what exactly this topic is all about. These two topics are all about. See, let me read the syllabus. Public civil service values, public service values and civil service values. Ethics in public administration, right? Now, in order to understand public service values or ethics in public administration, one thing what we have to know is, what is this public service at all and what is the basis of governance? This is the first thing that you have to understand. Once you understand that, actually what is the philosophical basis of governance, from where did this term called governance evolve, and what is the philosophical basis of governance, and then we can understand what is the concept of public service. So the first thing you have to understand is, it starts here, that is concept of public service, philosophical basis of governance. Once we understand that, we have to know what is the process of evolution of this governance, right from ancient times there is governance. Now how it evolved over a period of time to the modern times. This is the second thing that we have to understand in the philosophical basis of governance, or how the governance has evolved over a period of time. Then we will understand, once you analyze this way of development of governance, we will understand what is the present status. Now see, look at this, the status. They are asking what is the status of governance today. Why they have given this syllabus? They have given this topic in syllabus to clearly justify one thing called administration in the ancient times has moved on and it has changed a lot in the modern days. So they are asking what is the exact status of administration today, particularly in India and in the developing countries context and in the developed countries context. But we'll be referring, as it is only to India, we'll be mostly discussing about Indian context. So this is what they are asking, what is the present status? Once you understand the present status, actually what are the components of governance, then you can understand what are the problems. You have to understand the present status and what are the, then it gives an idea about what are the problems. Once you understand these things, then comes the concept of, actually, why should there be ethics in governance? First, we have to understand what is governance. You have to understand how it has evolved over a period of time. What is the present status? Once you understand status, you have to understand problems. In that problems, one thing is ethical concerns and dilemmas or one concern, right? And then how you can imbibe the so-called ethics in governance, or how you can make that governance substantiative or good governance. For that, you have next topic that is called laws, rules, regulations, and consigns as source of ethical guidance, right? And then you have, these are all the techniques. These are all the techniques. The rest of the topics here, except that corporate governance, ethics in international relations, the rest of the things are how to make governance strong. If you look at these things also, these are the things which are there to make that governance very strong. So overall, what do I want to say is, if you look at this thing, quality of service delivery, utilization of public funds, challenges of corruption. Overall, if you look at this structure, what you have to understand is the last two topics. If you want me to reorganize or to understand this topic very clearly, the root is not, it didn't start with this point called public service values, status, problems. No. So what is the actual root is? The root is this. First thing what you have to understand is, what you have to understand first is actually what is governance. How the so-called government has, what is government, what is the historical basis of this, how it has come into picture, then what is governance, which is also known as public administration, right? What is this, what is the historical basis for governance, and then how this governance structure has evolved over a period of time. With this evolution of governance, it came, we have separate thing called what is the present evolution or what is the present status. Now with evolution of anything, it always brings certain challenges with it. So that is called problems in governance. So once you understand the present status, what exactly is the structure, what are the components of it, then you can understand the challenges very easily, right? Once you know the challenges, the next component comes is how to overcome these challenges, right? For overcoming that challenges, you have one concept called good administration, or how to make governance as a very good thing, or how should you inculcate ethics in governance. This point comes just to overcome these challenges. In this governance or in this component, how to make this as a best component or how to make governance the best, you have subtopics that is called source for governance or source for governance or source for good governance. You have laws, you have rules, you have codes of conduct, right? Above all, you have one more thing called conscience. This is one source. Now, they lay the foundations or they have the values to make governance very good. The second thing is, apart from that, you want to make the institution very strong. For that, I always said this, institutions are made up of people. Governance is made up of administrators plus institutions. In the institutions, you have people. For this, these are called administrators here, bureaucrats, right? Here, bureaucrats, you have foundational values of civil servants that has to be very strong. We already discussed this. And then the institutions has to be made strong. How to make the institution strong? Any institution, to make it strong, what are the things that is required? The thing is, first the institution has to be accountable. And now how can you make that as accountable institution? You can make it by increasing transparency. How can you make transparency? By including such things called Right to Information Act, right? Then there is Citizens Charter. Right? Then in the codes, I said there are codes of conduct for an organization and codes of ethics also for individuals. That will be there. And then institutions has to be, once this is done, once it is accountable, once it is transparent, once these institutions are present, then it leads to enhancement or increase in the efficiency or enhancement of service delivery. This is the output that you are going to get from good governance, right? And then comes, once you are accountable, once you are transparent, once you are in, these persons have foundational values based upon some probity, once this is present, then automatically you can overcome one problem called corruption. And corruption, it is not a phenomena of modern day India. It is present right from the times of Kautilya. Kautilya said that, right? There are 40 ways where a person can, when there are 40 ways how a bureaucrat can get corrupted, right? Kautilya has discussed in Arthashastra. So corruption, you can overcome this corruption. Once you do these things, then governance is going to be good governance or ethical governance. So in the present status itself, you will have certain things called dilemmas in governance. You will understand in the present status itself the challenges. Now, if you look at the entire syllabus of the last 2 chapters, this is the syllabus. This is the order in which you have to study. Look at this. First, you start what is governance, philosophical basis of governance, right? That is called how governance has evolved over a period of time. And then you'll be coming to the evolution, evolutionary scale, where you'll be studying in the modern day context, particularly after LPG reforms or globalization, how governance structure has changed. That is the present day status, right? And then what is the challenges? Apart from that, 1995, post 1995 globalized world, one more thing has added into your governance structures, that is called ICT, information communication technology. So that is also playing a crucial role in the present day governance. Now, because of all these aspects, the first thing is there will be dilemmas. I'll tell you what are those dilemmas and how this is related to. And then there exist some challenges. The challenges will be at the institution level, at the individual level. And then in order to overcome these challenges, many people have propounded some concepts called good governance, ethical governance, right? How you can make governance very good by first having certain rules and regulations. For that, there should be some sources of ethics in governance, right? You can govern based on some rules, you can govern based on some regulations, on laws, on codes. In the codes, again, you have code of conduct, code of ethics. Once this is done, then every institution, I say institutions are not just made up of some buildings, it is made up of some individuals. And the individuals in governance are called the public servants, are called the bureaucrats. And these bureaucrats should contain foundational values. Now, link these foundational values to the previous topic that we discussed, right? And in these foundational values, you should add objectivity. Objectivity comes from emotional intelligence. So the concept is again linked to emotional intelligence back. So this is how you have to link to the institution there. And institutions itself has some problems, maybe infrastructure problems or some rules that has to be changed over a period of time, right? In that, institutions has to be accountable. Not only individual accountability, but institutions has to be accountable. For that, you have to have certain rules, that is called transparency, citizens charter, right? Once this is done, the overall governance, what is governance? Governance is nothing but service delivery. The overall service delivery is going to get enhanced. Quality of service delivery is going to enhance. And finally, it is going to minimize one thing called corruption, which is not only the status challenge of present day, but it is also the problem of right from Kautilya's side. Ancient times, not only India, but even in medieval Europe or ancient Europe, you find corruption as the biggest challenge for all the administrators. So this is how the syllabus is reoriented. Our syllabus should be framed. Let's go back to the understanding of syllabus now. Again, let me show you this. This is what I said. Public civil service values. First, in order to understand what is public service values, first you should know what makes that public service, or what are the instruments, what are the elements in that public service. That is the first thing that you have to understand. And they said about ethics in public administration. Come on, yes, I do discuss about ethics, but first you should know about what is public administration, right? For that, the roots are in the last chapter, that is called concept of public service. Actually, from where did this emerge, the concept of public service? And what is the philosophical basis for governance, right? That is the status. And then comes once you are done with this, you will come to the above topic, that is called what is the present status and what are the present problems. In the present status itself, you have some dilemmas. That is why next thing is ethical concerns and dilemmas in government. I hope you got the point now. And then leave about private institutions. I don't know why they have given and incorporated it here. Keep it aside for a while. We are discussing about governance. You are discussing about public institutions. Keep private institutions aside. Dilemmas in private institutions we'll discuss later. Now, status, problems, ethics. The present day status of ethics is declining. That is a problem again. So you have ethical dilemmas in government now. Again, in order to overcome that, you should have certain rules, regulations. First is you should have certain framework, how to overcome these challenges. For that, you have laws, rules, regulations, and above all, concerns of the individuals who is working, which is playing a crucial role in ethical guidance. Once this is done, this is one set where you can have, this is one set where you can have good governance, right? This is how I am discussing. This is one set, right? That is what the syllabus here is. Once this is done, then comes the accountability of individuals as well as the institutions. Here, accountability of institutions and values of the institutions. Here comes that point. Individual kochesi ikkada untundi. Institutions should contain and individuals should contain that. This is what is ethical governance. How to make ethical governance? These are the things that is present. How to strengthen that ethical governance or moral values in governance? See, actually this should come first and then should be this one. How to strengthen is laws. Are you understanding? How to strengthen this ethical governance? There are problems such as there is no good governance today. How to strengthen that? These are the sources. So, as per to me, the syllabus should not be in this way. Rather, the syllabus should have been, first they have given this here. They should have given strengthening of ethical moral values in governance. For that, you have these things: laws, rules, regulations, and conscience, right? Ethical relations, ethical issues in international relations, leave it aside because that is another chapter. Just like private institutions, leave it here. Internal relations and funding, corporate governance comes again in private institutions. So leave all these three things. Three things have separate domain. It doesn't link with the governance, though yes, they have certain linkages. I'll tell you how they link, but not totally. Again, how to strengthen ethical and moral values? This is one thing, probity in governance. And then how to strengthen accountability. Maintaining work culture, quality service delivery, these are the things. This is how the syllabus actually is. If you prepare in a similar, or if you prepare in the same format that it has given in the syllabus, then that becomes difficult to understand. So basically, if you ask me how the syllabus should have been, these two chapters, it should have been in this way. The first thing that you have to study here is the first thing that you have to study here is this one. The second thing is this one. Once you know what are the problems, what is the status, in the status itself you will have concerns and dilemmas in governance. This is the third thing that you have to study here. Now, once this is present, the next question is, yes, there are some dilemmas. The next question is how to inculcate ethical and moral values in governance. So this should be the fourth thing. For that, the answer is laws, rules, regulations, and conscience as source of ethics. This is answer for fourth. That is called fifth chapter now. Or fifth topic should come. Fourth, the answer for fourth point is the fifth point. Right? Apart from fifth point, the answers for fourth point itself forms the subcomponent. That is 5, 6, 7. This is 5, right? Now, accountability and ethical governance. Again, they are speaking about ethical governance. Ethical governance is the same thing, strengthening of ethical and moral values, right? Leave it. It doesn't have anything here. But accountability is one aspect. That is, you consider it as 6. Accountability is a subcomponent of transfer probity. So 6th comes, if you ask me, again, I'll tell you, see here. What I'm saying, strengthening of ethical and moral values in governance is the 4th topic that we have to study here. How to strengthen answer is 5. That is laws, rules, regulations. This is 5. Apart from that, you should have probity. That is called 6. One component of probity, I said, probity should inculcate honesty, right? This I discussed. What is probity? Probity is honesty plus code of ethics plus code of conduct, that is code of civil services or code of public services. Once you add all these 3, it becomes probity. Code of ethics, code of conduct again is a subcomponent here, right? So probity in governance forms the 6th one. Accountability comes as 6th A in this. Integrity comes as 6th B, right? Now these are the things. Again, if you want, again I said, this is how you can make probity in governance. Again, there are individuals who are playing a crucial role here. For that, the bureaucrats should contain this thing. Aptitude, foundational values of civil servants. This is very important. Foundational values of civil service. See this. Just like this, laws, rules, and regulations, these are foundational values. You should have them to make governance very strong. In that, again, in order to have this compassion towards weaker sections, empathy, you should have this thing that is called emotional intelligence. Right? ఫౌండేషనల్ వాల్యూస్ ఆఫ్ సివిల్ సర్వీస్ లో ఎంపతి కావాలి అంటే ఫస్ట్ మనకి ఎమోషన్స్ అండర్స్టాండింగ్ ఉండాలి. ఆ ఎమోషన్స్ అండర్స్టాండ్ చేయాలి అంటే ఎమోషనల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ ఉండాలి. దిస్ ఇస్ హౌ ద లింక్ ఈస్. వన్స్ యూ అండర్స్టాండ్ 8th, this is all related to the individual. Probity in governance, you have individuals, then individual values, and then how to make the institution strong. You can make the institution strong by incorporating or accountability. How you can get that accountability is information sharing, transparency in government, right to information. These are the components again under 6A, accountability. This is how you can increase accountability. Again, you have one more thing that is called code of ethics and code of conduct will come under this, laws, rules, and regulations, right? So this is laws, rules, regulations. Again, 5th point only. Citizens Charter improves transparency, work culture, quality of service delivery, utilization of public funds. These are all comes under probity. That is called improvements in governance. So you can give it as 9th point. And challenges of corruption is the last thing, where once these are all included, you can overcome corruption. Actually, this should be the way of study this last few chapters. This is how the link is. Why I am stressing the link is not to study, but whenever we are thinking about a problem, if they give a question about it in ethics, if they give any case study or any question about governance or about any of these things, you should have a broader picture. You should look from top view and look at the bottom. Okay, what should be the basic linkages between the topics? If they ask about a particular challenge, you should understand what is the root, what is the cause for this. You can understand this, or you can write a better answer if you understand the linkages in the topic clearly. If they are asking about transparency, you should know why transparency is required, because the present day status, you have problems. So whenever you are writing transparency, you can link it with 1, 2, 3 points, and then you come to the 4. So I have said all these things just for one thing. That is, when you are writing, you have to think in these dimensions. No need to study anywhere. The thing is, make a flow chart in your brain itself. Okay, idi first ostundi, second ostundi, after this will come, after this will come. If you know this clearly in your brain, you will write a beautiful answer. No need to study at all, because you will know what is the linkage between each and everything. I hope you got this very clearly. If you have any problem now, you can ask me. With this, I'll discuss with the first component here, that is called that is concept of public service, philosophical basis of governance. You make a flow chart, keep some time, give 10 minutes or 15 minutes, sit silently, take a white paper, make a flow chart, how the linkage is. If you have any question, you can ask me, or else I will start with the first topic here. Did you get the point first, what I discussed? I just want to know whether you have got it or not. Is it clear, guys? Sir, could you give a quick revise? Yes, I can. Now, let me tell you one thing. See, the questions that they ask is, whatever the questions that may be, either because the question may be challenges in corruption, what are the problems that you have in administration, why code of ethics is necessary, why code of conduct is necessary, why laws are important, why, whatever the thing is, first what you have to understand is everything has certain linkages here. So it starts with, you have to understand, the first thing is what is mean by governance and how it has evolved, how human beings have evolved. There is governance is separate concept. You should know how governance has evolved over a period of time. What is the root cause, or what is the beginning of governance? What is the beginning of government, that you have to understand. Second thing is how governance has come for the first time in human history. Then you have to understand how it has evolved over a period of time, right? It will have a historical evolution. And then we'll come to the present day status, and we study what is the exact status of governance today. That is the second thing that you have to study. Once you study the exact status today, you will understand the problems also which is associated with this present day status. In that problems and in that status, we will study one thing called the present day bureaucrats or the present day governance is facing many problems or ethical dilemmas. That is again linked, ethical concerns and dilemmas that is there. So your problems are the present. Once you understand the present day status, you will understand that yes, this is the status. Hence, you have ethical dilemmas like this, you have problems like this, you have ethical concerns like this. Once you understand this, what is the most important thing that is required is you should understand how to overcome these present day challenges, how to overcome this present day status. For overcoming that, you have source of governance, that is called laws, rules, regulations. See, I said these are the problems, this is the status. Now, if you want to overcome these problems, why you want to overcome these problems? You want to make governance as good governance. In order to make governance as good governance, the most important factor is, first thing you should know, you have to frame some laws, rules, regulations, and conscience. Here you include code of conduct also, that is code of ethics, code of conduct also. This is one way to strengthen the so-called good governance. The second way is institutions are made of, or governance is made of institutions plus individuals. So if you want to make any governance strong, you have to make the individuals in it very strong. For that, you have the individuals, that is bureaucrats who is working in this. They should have foundational values. So it is linked again to foundational values in civil servants. In that foundational values, you have one point called empathy, tolerance, compassion. If you want to develop these values called empathy, tolerance, compassion, objectivity, and overcome subjectivity, if you want to have this, what you have to have is, first, you should have knowledge about emotions. So you should have emotional intelligence. So whenever you are writing about what is the advantages of emotional intelligence, this is the story again. What is the advantages of civil servants? This is the story again. So the concept is same. Now this is up to the individual. One is you framed the laws for individuals and institutions. Then you are giving a structure to the individual. Now you are functioning, or you are concentrating on the third component, that is called institution itself. You have to make the institution very strong. How you can make institution very strong? First thing is institutions has to be accountable. For that, they should have this links to the so-called probity. Probity includes accountability. Probity includes integrity. So the next point, as far as the institution is concerned, there should be some probity in governance. In that probity, one aspect is accountability. The second aspect is integrity. In that accountability, if you want to make any institution accountable, how you can make it accountable? By sharing the information, what is there inside. So for that, there has to be transparency. Accountability can be possible only when there is transparency, and transparency can be possible when you are ready to share the information. Hence, transparency, right to whatever the things are there. Next, that is called right to information. Your citizens charter, there will be citizens charter. This shows that yes, these are the functions that this institution provides, and once you know that, then you can be very well aware, okay, this institution is providing that, and then transparency increases. So in order to increase transparency, right to information is there. Next one is you have citizens charter. Once this is there, you can develop some institutional framework. Again, you should develop in the institution, you have to develop work culture of the institution. Once this is there, the overall individual develops, institution develops, and the team building develops. Once this is developing, quality of service delivery is going to improve. Quality of service delivery is called governance, right? If it is of the highest standards, then that is called good governance. If it is highest standards, quality of service delivery, if it is highest, you call it as ethical governance. So quality of service delivery is called